Hey, hi. Welcome back to my computer, and we've got my Zoom microphone plugged in. Hopefully my computer does the audio nicely. I've got my headphones in as a monitor to the microphone so I can hear what should be happening, what should be recording. But who knows? I guess we will find out and see what it's going to be like. Okay. First of all, please notice that my cat has a bed right there, and that's a scratching board. And she thinks that the scratching board is a bed, but it's not a bed. That's a bed. And the scratching board is for scratching, but she doesn't know that that's what she's supposed to do on it. So she's very silly. And she's gonna sleep, I guess. Let's see, once I start doing something though, she's gonna come here and try and be a part of it. There's noise upstairs, and there's other noise going on. What does that sound like? Candy. Somebody eating jelly beans. Oh, I want jelly beans. No, I don't want jelly beans. I want jelly bellies. Okay. There she goes. Bye, Pico. I'm just gonna knit. I'm gonna knit and chat. I might turn down this a little bit, just so that we don't get any too loud noises. Alright, remember this? Remember this? It's not done yet, but it's gonna be a baby romper. The front is done, and I'm finishing the back. And then I will do straps, and then I'm going to go around these like leg holes to make them nicer around the edges. That's what the pattern says anyways. Okay. There's my yarn, so I am just decreasing. Okay. So I need to go, I'm doing decrease until this is only 30 stitches, but I don't know, just to get an idea how many there are right now, because I've stopped working on this one for a while. Now I always kind of forget. I haven't touched it in a while. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 46. Okay, so in every other row I decrease by 2, so 16. It will take 16 more rows. So let's start without getting my wires tangled. First I do knit 3. There's the water pump. And then knit 2 together. 1, 2. And then knit. Usually I would do this listening to a good audiobook. And so the books I've been going through like various, like an audiobook binge every once in a while, depending on what the book is. But I've been trying to alternate with like really exciting, fun, sort of fiction, fantasy, adventure type books, which I listen to like binge style. I just listen to them constantly. And then I alternate that with more like a non-fiction book about something or other, self-growth, or like business, or like running, or like sports psychology, or just like something of interest in that way. I have an Audible account, and so I figure I don't actually read physical books too often. I should. It's not like I don't. But I find that I can multitask when I'm listening to an audiobook. So I can knit, or I can stretch, or I can run, which I like doing. So I figure as long as the books are getting in me somehow, an audiobook is just fine. So the one I've been listening to currently, and I'm going at it so slowly because it's, it's good, but it's not like amazing. It's okay. It's called The Big Leap by I have to look it up because I don't remember. By Gay Hendricks. The Big Leap. He's a psychologist, and he's kind of like, I don't know, a psychologist slash coach for like super, I don't know, business types of people, it seems. I found the first part of the book a little bit very generic. It's like, it's encouraging and inspiring in certain ways, and then in other ways it's kind of like, for like, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. The whole like, the only thing holding you back is you kind of nonsense, which is like a little bit true, right? And a lot of people just need that extra encouragement to go into the next level of whatever they're trying to accomplish. But like, for so many people, it's not just you. There are like systems in place that make it really difficult if you're not born into the world to break into it. I'm not saying I'm trying to be super rich. I like what I am. I like what I do. I know I'm like, higher level university educated, and I excel in my field of music, even though that's kind of shut down. But the whole idea of like, the only thing holding your business back from like you being like a multi-billionaire is you. No, it's not. He doesn't ever say that in the book. I mean, I'm being a little bit harsh. And if that is your ambition, that's totally cool. Just be aware how you actually got there. Whoopsies. But the other books I have in my queue, so I just have like 3 hours of this one left, and I'm listening to it at like 1.25 speed, so it's going a little bit faster. Okay, so where did I go to my library? Excuse me. Not started. The books I have Dune. I remember reading, or like trying to read that when I was in high school, and maybe just getting a couple chapters in, and like I watched a miniseries back in like the 90s or the 2000s and being like, whoa, that's weird. But anyway, I thought like it would be worth a listen if it is actually as good as it is claimed to be. And they're making a new movie about it, so that might be neat to see. I have a book that's called How Bad Do You Want It? So that is nonfiction. I think it's about a sports thing, like a running. Another running one is called The Brave Athlete that I haven't started yet. And then I have a book called Johnny Appleseed by Joshua Whitehead, which is just one Canada Reads competition, and I hear it's really, really good. And I have like friends that are his friend, the author's friend, so it's like a friend of a friend who wrote it. So I think that's going to be really interesting. He is like First Nations and LGBTQ. He's queer, so it's about that whole world, because that's a whole different world, and I'm really curious to dig into that. And then I have a fantasy romance young adult novel by Sarah J. Maas called The House of Earth and Blood, Crescent City. Is that what it's called? I just thought it was called Crescent City. Which I'm sure that's just going to be fun. And I'm going to rip through that one too. Is that correct? Anyways. Anyways, that's it. So I'm trying to catch up. With Audible, you pay to have like a one book for $15 a month. You can get more than that, but you have to pay the full price for the audiobooks, which are usually around like $25 to $30. So I suppose it's a little bit cheaper if you do the subscription. And I've considered canceling it, but then I play this game of like, well, I'm getting books in me, so maybe it's worth the $15 a month, or like $15 per book. And it's not like it expires, so I have some banked credits too, so I'm trying to get through these books so I can get some new ones or use my credits. If I get so like overwhelmed, if there's too many credits and I'm not listening to them, then I might just cancel it. The last book that I finished was the prequel to the Hunger Games trilogy. And the prequel, it actually just came out last summer. And if you're familiar with the Hunger Games, this prequel book, it takes place about 50 years before the Hunger Games takes place. And it follows a little bit the story about President Snow, but when he was like a young student, kind of when he's a teenager. It's really good, actually. It took a little bit to get into because I was like, why? He's a villain. He's a villain, and you know he's a villain because you know the original 3 trilogy where he's the president and he's evil. So initially, like, trying to feel any sort of like empathy towards him is a little bit suspicious. It's a little bit tough. But she writes it so well that you almost kind of do. Because he seems like kind of alright. And then his transformation, you know there's going to be a bad transformation. And when it is, like when it happens, you know it's going to happen. But it's like, it's hard, it's heavy. It's well done. Very well written. I recommend it if you're into that series, that you should definitely read it, because I think you would enjoy it. Other things that I have been consuming are, the Marvel Universe movies. I used to go to movies a lot, like before 2014. I used to go to movies all the time. So that's before I did my master's degree. I used to go like almost every weekend to go see movies. So I was like on. I just watched everything. And so the last Marvel movie I had seen was, I guess, Guardians of the Galaxy. I think that was the last one I ever saw. And even previous to that, I hadn't seen any Captain America movies. But I had seen like the Avengers and Iron Man and like the first Thor movie and maybe the second Thor movie. So I had only just seen some of those. So yeah, they were like years to catch up on. Because I thought like, well, I've been hearing a lot about these new shows, and I kind of want to, maybe it's time to catch up. Just being home all the time, like right now in lockdown, there's not much else to do, and so I've been, since January, every week or so, or every couple of weeks, I've been watching a Marvel movie. Just last week, or like last weekend, this past weekend, I watched a whole bunch. I watched like one on Thursday night, and then like 2 on Saturday night, and then like 1 was it last night or two nights ago I watched another one. So I'm happy to say that I have only 3 left of the movies, of the Marvel specific Avengers, whatever. The only ones I have left are the Avengers Infinity Wars and Avengers Endgame, and then the Ant-Man and Wasp, which I guess would just be kind of a fun one. But the one I watched, not last night, but the night before, I watched Thor Ragnarok, and that one was pretty good. It was fun. They're all just fun. I don't even really remember all of the details of any of these. They're so formulaic, but they're so fun. Like Thor Ragnarok, and I was watching the beginning of it, and I called the ending right at the beginning. Like, oh, this is gonna happen. He's gonna do this, and that's how they're gonna win. And I was right. But it's not like it was that hard to figure out. I enjoyed it. It was really good. Good fun. I don't think I'm gonna remember it forever though. So if you ask me like 2 days from now what the plot was, I'd be like, oh, I don't know. I liked Doctor Strange. That was pretty neat. It was cool effects. And then like, I don't know, Guardians of the Galaxy, it's just so silly. It's just a very silly movie. I've never seen any of the Deadpool movies because I hear that's also just really funny, like silly stuff. Or the newer Spider-Mans. There's been so many different Spider-Mans. I did watch the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the one with all the like animated stuff. That was good. That was funny. But that's where I'm at with movies. I don't really want to watch like serious dramas. I'd rather just watch fluffy fluff. Same with books. Give me trash and nonfiction. That makes me a better person or something. Okay, I've done about 4 lines, which means I've decreased 4. So that should be a 42 or so. I'm gonna have a tea break. Something I didn't do today is I haven't played the flute, so I might practice after this. But it's already kind of late. I didn't do any practicing today, even though it's my March break. Hard to stay really, this is gonna sound so strange, like to stay really motivated. I'd like to practice every day with nothing to work towards definitively. Like, it's a weird feeling, so it's hard. I'll go through spurts of like a week or 2 weeks where I'm like, all right, this is it, I'm gonna practice so much and play so much, and then I'm like, yeah, this is fun, and then it just goes away, where I'm like, oh yeah, I should. But then I'm like, I want to do this thing instead. Or I'll do this instead. I'll watch this movie instead. And I'm all about balance, but at the same time, I guess I could get my practicing done earlier in the day, but I don't know. It's just hard. If I was, doing lessons or something, even like that would keep me more accountable, but I've done the odd lesson, but it's not the same as when I was a student. I'd rather have, you know, real things to prepare for, because I can know what I need to work on, but it's just the accountability. I'm not really in a place to pay for someone to tell me to stay accountable. I really need to do it myself. So I've made like a Google sheet that like, and like a calendar that I can check off when I've been practicing, and to keep track of the hours. And I know that sounds a little bit superficial, but I find that if I track hours, then I can like feel good about that. But even that, I've been like, last week I just felt like, ugh, I don't know. The first week was great, so I don't know, I really should. I really should. I am self-motivated in a lot of ways, but I do hit like sometimes a limit where I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna stop now. But you know, I also like, I don't want to be like super productive 24 hours a day. I don't want that. I want balance. What do you like? Okay, I think I'm gonna stop that for now so that I can play some music. But I hope that you will have a really nice sleep.